Have you ever felt that you practice with a sincere heart, but the results come too slowly, so slowly that your faith starts to feel tired? You breathe, you try to be gentler, you return each day, and yet the old waves are still moving inside you. In today's video, I want to walk with you through something truly important. Faith does not need to run fast. It only needs to know how to wait, like a seed quietly growing beneath the soil, like sweet fruit ripening slowly in the right season. If these words touch you even gently, you can leave a like, a small comment, or share this video with someone who needs support. And if you would like a few minutes each day to listen to the Buddha's words, please subscribe to the channel Buddha's Loving Words and turn on notifications. Please stay until the end of the video so you can let something settle just for you. And I believe this. If you stay with me just a little longer, you will feel your heart soften and your steps become steadier. Faith that learns to wait in silence. There are days when you sit down very neatly, light a stick of incense, open a Dharma talk, or simply close your eyes and take a few breaths to soften your heart. You have tried, you have come back, and yet when you stand up and look around, life is still the same. The worries are still there. The mind still flickers. The things you hoped would change have not moved at all. And in that moment, a very real, very ordinary question can rise like a sigh. Is my faith going astray? Am I practicing the wrong way? Why do I still not see anything? This is exactly where faith is tested the most. Not when the storm first hits, but when the storm has passed and the sky still has not brightened. Not when suffering is loud and intense, but when patience runs out, little by little, like a pot of water forgotten on the stove. We are not afraid of a long road. We are afraid of the feeling of walking and still not seeing the destination. And when patience is missing, faith suddenly becomes a seed demanding to be a tree overnight. We want peace right away. We want clarity right away. We want suffering to end right away. We want to see results right away, to prove that our effort has meaning. But the Buddha's teaching shows us something very different from that habit. All conditioned things depend on causes and conditions. They arise from causes and conditions. And causes and conditions do not ripen according to our impatience. The Buddha did not teach people to chase results. He taught people to look deeply into the causes. What seeds are you planting? How are you nourishing them? How are you protecting them? Then the fruit will come at the right time. On the path, slow does not mean not moving. Many times, slowness itself is a sign of maturity, because what truly grows often grows in silence. There is a story from the Buddha's time that always helps me feel less rushed. It is said there was a gardener who cared for fruit trees all day long. He watered them faithfully, pulled weeds, built up the soil around the roots, and shaded them from harsh sun. But that season was unusual. Too little rain, too much heat. The young trees still stood there, as if they did not appreciate any of his care. The gardener looked at them with a heart burning like fire, afraid all his effort would be wasted. One day he could not bear it anymore. He pulled up a young tree to see if the roots had grown yet. The roots snapped. The tree wilted. And in that moment he understood something painful. Some things need only time and gentle care. To touch them out of impatience is to ruin what you love. Practice is the same. There are days when you pull up your own roots with a flood of questions. Why am I still sad? Why am I still angry? Why am I still anxious? Why do I practice and still not end my suffering? But the mind is not a machine. The mind is a garden. And in that garden, many seeds need their own season. You cannot plant a lotus today and demand that tomorrow the whole pond is in bloom. And you cannot stand in front of an old, long-held pain and demand that a few breaths make it vanish. The Buddha called the path of transformation the path of arising and ending. Suffering has causes. those causes can be untangled through right practice. And that untangling happens layer by layer, like peeling an onion. You peel one layer and tears fall, but each layer you pass makes you lighter. If you look at life through the eyes of causes and conditions, you will blame yourself less and blame time less. You will understand that today, still feeling unsteady does not mean you have failed. It may simply mean the roots are still growing quietly beneath the ground. You cannot see it, but that does not mean nothing is happening. Someone who used to react with anger may still feel anger, but now can pause one more beat before speaking. Someone who used to drown in anxiety may still feel worry, but now knows how to breathe deeply, how to return to the body. Those changes can be so small you overlook them, but in the eyes of the Dharma, they are bricks being laid down to build a life of awakening. In the scriptures, the Buddha often used the image of water to speak about the mind and about practice. Water does not need to hurry, but water flowing steadily can wear down stone. What matters is not how strong the current feels in one moment, but the continuity. A person without patience looks at one day of practice and wants the stone to be smooth at once. A wise person looks over a whole year, over 10 years, and then one day turns back and realizes the stone in the heart has softened without being noticed. That is why faith needs a companion called patience. Without patience, faith is like a small flame set in strong wind. A few gusts of discouragement and it goes out. With patience, faith is like a lamp shielded by a hand, still bright even after the storm. The Buddha taught right effort, but right effort in the Dharma is not rushing forward, not forcing yourself, and not punishing yourself with expectations. Right effort is effort in the right direction, steady, not giving up and not impatient. It is like someone walking in the dark. No need to run, just do not stop. And when we join effort with mindfulness, we begin to understand practice is not to become someone quickly. Practice is to return to what is true in each breath. So the beginning of today's story only invites you to sit down gently, like a friend sitting beside you on a windy afternoon. No need to force the heart to be peaceful right away. No need to prove anything. Just look directly at what is happening. Are you tired because you want results too fast? Are you demanding that your faith shine immediately while it is still a seed learning how to rest in the earth? If you can soften a little here, you will see something very beautiful. Faith has not disappeared. It is only asking you to learn something deeper, the lesson of waiting. Waiting is not giving up. Waiting is continuing to nourish, continuing to return, continuing to be kind to yourself, even when you have not seen flowers yet. And in the moment you accept slow, you step through a great door. The door of no longer rushing yourself. The door of no longer treating your mind like a project to finish. Please stay until the end of this video so you can let something settle just for you. Because maybe what you need is not to move faster, but to walk steadier. And faith, when protected by patience, will know how to wait. Until one day, naturally, at the right time, it opens into peace. When you rush, faith can collapse. Something is strange. Many times we do not lose faith when life hits the hardest. We lose faith when life keeps hitting, and then suddenly goes quiet, leaving a long, empty space of nothing seems to change. We sit down, we breathe, we try to live more gently, react less, be less angry. But day after day, the old waves in the mind are still there. And in that silence, patience begins to wear thin, like a rope pulled tight without rest. We are no longer afraid of pain. We are afraid of this feeling. I've been doing it, so why haven't I changed? When that question grows, faith changes shape, from a lamp that guides us into a demand. In the Buddha's teaching, this is when craving puts on the mask of practice. Craving is not only wanting money or status. Craving can also be wanting results, wanting progress, wanting peace, wanting awakening. When craving stands behind our practice, we start trying to snatch happiness. We want a certain state. We want to keep it. We want to reach it. We want to prove it. And when we cannot, we suffer one layer more. Suffering because we already suffer, and still it is not done. The Buddha called this the suffering of craving and clinging. Craving is wanting. Clinging is holding tight. We crave peace. Then we cling to the idea, I must be at peace. And that very clinging makes us more restless. There is a story often told in the tradition about a newly ordained monk who was very diligent, very intense. He heard that meditation brings peace, so he sat for many hours, forcing the mind to be still, forcing the body to endure. Whenever thoughts arose, he got angry at himself. Whenever the mind wandered, he called it failure. After some time, he became exhausted, irritated, and full of doubt. Is this path even real? Why do I practice and feel more tangled? He went to the Buddha and told everything. The Buddha did not scold him. He only asked gently, "Did you ever play a lute?" The monk said yes. The Buddha asked, "If the strings are too tight, what happens?" He answered, "They break. And if they are too loose, they don't produce sound." The Buddha concluded, practice is the same. Too tight, it breaks. Too loose, it loses the way. Adjust it to the middle. That single image untied a great knot. We suffer not only because the road is long, but because we pull the strings too tight with impatience. When patience is missing, we turn practice into a hurried race. We treat each day like an exam. Am I peaceful today? Am I less sad? Have I achieved anything? If we feel calm, we rejoice. If we feel restless, we collapse. And the mind is pulled into a new whirlpool. Happiness and sadness rising and falling with outcomes. The Buddha taught that the mind is impermanent. States come and go like clouds. But we want the clouds to stay still. We want the sky to always be blue. When it is not, we conclude, practice is useless. In truth, it is not useless. We are simply demanding that impermanence become permanent. From there, a very common discouragement appears. Discouragement because fruit ripens slowly. We look at others and see them calmer, gentler, brighter, and then we turn back and blame ourselves. Comparison is a trap, because we cannot see other people's conditions. Some have walked through years of keeping precepts, doing good, listening to the Dharma, and only then built a steady foundation. Some are naturally less turbulent. Some are in spring, while we are in winter. But we use their spring to judge our winter. And then faith trembles not because we lack teachings, but because we lack right view of dependent arising. The Buddha once said, "My teaching is like the ocean, with one salty taste. But the road to the ocean is different for each person. Some cross flat fields, some cross deep forests. You cannot say the ocean does not exist just because you are still in the forest. When we lack patience, we judge the whole path by one bend. We use one restless day to deny an entire month of returning. We use one angry moment to deny all the times we held back. We use one sleepless night to deny all the nights we were steady. We forget, a mountain is not measured by one grain of sand. A tree is not measured by one leaf. We only stare at what is not yet, and we forget what already is. More dangerously, impatience can shake the tree so the fruit falls too soon. In practice, early results are like unripe fruit, a little lightness, a little clarity, a little peace. If we grab at it too quickly, show it off, or demand it last forever, we lose it ourselves. The Buddha taught letting go, releasing both the pleasant and the unpleasant. But we try to hold the pleasant and push away the unpleasant. When we hold and push, the mind tightens. When the mind tightens, peace cannot stay. So we touch a little peace, and it slips away because the hand wants to keep. Then a more subtle stage arrives. We begin to feel fear. Fear that if we do not progress fast, we will never arrive. Fear that life is too short and suffering is too much. Fear that we are losing to ourselves. And from fear, we become frantic. The Buddha said haste is another form of fear. We run not because we know the way, but because we panic. We want awakening like someone trying to escape a burning house. But the more we run, the more we forget to breathe, forget to look, forget to walk. And when we forget to walk, we stumble. Then we get discouraged. Then we doubt. Then we let go. That is how faith collapses, not knocked down once, but slowly extinguished by the winds of discouragement. In the Dharma, discouragement often comes with sloth and restlessness. Sloth is heaviness, sinking down. Restlessness is agitation, rushing up. When we do not see results, the mind either sinks into weariness or flares into irritability. We either want to quit or force ourselves harder. Both are imbalance, and imbalance makes us forget the true aim of the path, not to become perfect at once, but to see clearly, understand clearly, and from there release suffering little by little. If you look deeply, you will see that impatience does not only make you tired, it also makes you misunderstand practice. You think practice means erasing all thoughts, but really, practice is knowing thoughts. You think practice means never feeling sadness, but really, practice means not being dragged away by sadness. You think practice means you must be calm, but really, practice means seeing that both calm and unrest are impermanent. When you misunderstand, you set the wrong goal, and then you feel disappointed. Disappointment again and again, and faith breaks. And that is the problem of this part. When patience is missing, we turn the path of liberation into a race. We turn peace into a trophy. We turn practice into pressure. We shake the tree to make fruit fall. We pull up the roots to see if they have grown. We tighten the strings until they snap. We do not realize that sometimes what we need most is not more effort, but a change of view, from demanding results to nourishing, wholesome causes. And as long as we have not changed that view, faith will keep standing in front of the storm of discouragement, trembling, easily collapsing. In the next part, we will learn to do the opposite, to go slowly but surely, to water a little each day, and to trust the roots that are growing quietly underneath. With small steps, your roots grow quietly. If the previous part was when we recognize why faith can begin to tremble, then this part is when we start learning a different way to live. Not forcing the mind to achieve something right away, but gently returning to care for the wholesome causes already being planted. The Buddha did not teach us to look for a miracle that makes suffering disappear overnight. He taught the path of causes and conditions. Plant the right causes, nourish them well, and the fruit will ripen in its own time. And sometimes the greatest wonder of the Dharma is not in sudden, glowing feelings, but in steady continuity, a little each day, like small drops of water without stopping, softening the sharp edge of stone inside the heart. In his teachings, the Buddha often spoke with the image of a farmer. A farmer understands the earth. They do not stand in the middle of the field and shout, "Rice, grow faster." They also do not dig up the soil every day to see whether the seed has split yet. They do their work, turn the soil, plant the seed, water, pull weeds, and then watch the sky. They know some things are beyond their wishes, but that does not make them quit. It makes them humble. Practice is the same. We do our part, and the results belong to conditions. That humility is the foundation of patience. And when we stop trying to control everything, faith finally begins to breathe again. There is a beautiful story about a layman who came to the Buddha with a heavy heart. He said he had tried to live with goodness, had practiced breathing, had listened to the teachings, but still kept getting pulled by old anger. He felt ashamed and disappointed, as if he could never change. The Buddha listened and then told him a simple story. Long ago, there was someone who wanted to repair a cracked wall. Each day, that person filled in a little mortar and smoothed it a little. Someone else walked by and laughed. Is that all? That person did not argue. He just kept doing it. After some time, the wall became solid again. The Buddha said, "Your mind is also a wall. The cracks did not form in one day, and you cannot fill them all in one day. But each day you fill in a little, that is the merit of returning." After hearing this, the layman suddenly felt lighter, not because his anger vanished, but because he understood he no longer needed to beat himself up. The first solution, then, is to return to what is small and what is real. In the Dhammapada, there is a verse, "Do not think lightly of small evil, saying, 'It will not come to me.' Water droplets, falling over time, fill the jar." That same principle can be applied in reverse to goodness. Do not look down on small goodness. One deep breath when anger is about to rise. One moment of silence before speaking words that hurt. One time putting the phone down to look at your child with gentle eyes. One time joining your palms and saying, "Sorry." These are grains of sand that become a mountain. When we respect small effort, we are no longer obsessed with big results. And when we are not obsessed, we become more enduring. Endurance is strength. The second solution is to replace demanding peace with watering peace. Many people come to practice like a thirsty person running to a well, drinking in one gulp and hoping thirst will disappear forever. But body and mind still live in the world, still meet conditions, and still become thirsty again. The Buddha taught that practice is watering future peace. Each time you return, you plant another layer of calm for tomorrow. Do not wait until the mind is tangled to practice. Practice like watering a tree. Some days the tree looks greener, some days it looks unchanged, but the water has already soaked in. You may not see it right away, but one day you will notice you respond differently. You will see that in a situation that once shattered you, now you still feel sadness, but you do not break. That is the fruit of many waterings that once looked small. The third solution is to trust the unseen roots. There are seasons of practice with nothing dazzling. You do not feel deeper meditation. You do not feel a brighter mind. But that may be the time the roots are growing. In nature, winter makes a tree bare, but under the ground the roots still draw nourishment, preparing for spring. The Buddha taught impermanence, independent arising. The mind also has seasons. A season of opening, a season of closing, a season of energy, a season with only enough strength to breathe. A wise person does not judge an entire life by one season. You do not need to call yourself a failure just because you are in winter. Just do not abandon the tree. Just keep watering. The fourth solution is to let patience guard the heart like a protector. Patience is not silent endurance. In the Dharma, patience is the strength to stand steady in front of discouragement. The Buddha compared the mind to a fortress. Without a guard, enemies enter. The enemies here are not outside people, but destructive thoughts. I can't do this. Practice is useless. I'm terrible. When those thoughts arrive, instead of believing them immediately, we learn to recognize, this is discouragement. Then we breathe, and we remind ourselves, today, sincerity is enough. Patience is what keeps us from collapsing in one gust of wind. With patience, faith is not knocked down by storms. The fifth solution is to choose a steady step instead of a frantic sprint. The Buddha did not praise the one who practiced the most. He praised the one who practiced rightly. Right effort is not pushing yourself until you are exhausted. It is choosing a rhythm you can walk for a long time. Many people begin with enthusiasm, burn through all their strength in a few weeks, and then quit. That is frantic. A lasting path is just enough, a short daily practice, but real. A small vow, but kept. A small precept, but honored. A steady walker goes farther than the one who runs and falls. And finally, the sixth solution is one sincere day at a time. Sometimes we want practice to be a grand project, but the Buddha shows us a very ordinary door. Today, be a little kinder than yesterday. Today, be a little more awake. Today, say one less word that hurts someone. Today, know how to apologize. Today, know how to pause before reacting. Awakening is not built from one extraordinary day, but from countless ordinary days lived with mindfulness. If you feel slow, remember, in the Dharma, slow is not frightening. Stopping is frightening. You do not need to rush toward awakening because rushing only increases fear. You only need to walk calmly. Each time you return, even for a single breath, you have watered one drop of peace for the future. And one day, very naturally, you will look back and see, your faith is no longer trembling like before. It has learned something precious, how to wait, how to grow in silence. Please stay until the end of this video so you can let something settle just for you. Maybe what you need is not a fast result, but a heart patient enough to go all the way. With daily sincerity, awakening is built slowly. There is a very special moment on the path of practice. The moment you stop demanding that you must arrive, and you begin to feel grateful for each step you have already taken. Not because suffering is gone, but because you understand suffering is no longer a sentence. Suffering is only a part of causes and conditions, coming and going like rain and sun. And when you understand this, you become less rushed. You no longer chase awakening like chasing a shadow. You begin to live the Dharma the way you live life. Sincere, simple, and patient enough to wait for fruit to ripen in its right season. In the final days of his teaching, the Buddha repeated one message that sounds simple, but becomes deeper the longer we live. Be a lamp unto yourself. Many people hear this as a call to be strong, to rely on yourself. But in the light of the Dharma, lighting your own lamp also means learning to walk step by step with your own breath. Not borrowing the world's impatience, not using haste as fuel. That lamp stays lit because of the oil of mindfulness, because of the cool wind of patience, because of the sheltering hand of understanding. Without patience, the lamp easily goes out, because the wind of discouragement keeps blowing. With patience, the lamp stays bright, even when the road is long. There is a Buddhist story that often makes people quiet. It tells of a layman who was very poor, but had deep faith. He heard that offering lamps plants the cause of wisdom. So each day he saved a little oil to light one small lamp at the monastery. His lamp was tiny, thin like a thread. A wealthy man came and offered hundreds of large lamps, lighting up the whole courtyard. Night fell. A strong wind rose. Many of the big lamps went out, but the poor man's small lamp kept burning. People were surprised. A monk tried to put it out to clean up, but strangely, no matter how he blew, it would not go out. The Buddha said that lamp was lit by sincerity and perseverance. The merit of steady effort made it hard to shake. That story is not told to praise a miracle, but to remind us of the strength of small things done with a true heart. Your faith is the same. It does not need to be big. It only needs to be real. And real is not found in a passing feeling of joy. Real is found in the fact that you still return, even when today does not look bright. Still breathing and knowing you are breathing. Still able to pause one beat before saying words that hurt. Still remembering to look at the people you love with gentle eyes instead of judging eyes. These are small lamps. When you light those small lamps each day, one day the whole road will be bright enough for you to walk without fear. But the ending of this journey is not simply keep going. The Dharma does not praise tightening and forcing. The Dharma invites us to wake up and see that our impatience often comes from an illusion. The illusion that we can control time and results. The Buddha taught dependent arising. Everything forms from many conditions. We can create good conditions, but we cannot command the fruit to ripen. When we understand this, we blame ourselves less. We also blame life less. We do our part, and then we release the rest. Releasing here does not mean abandoning, it means not clinging. Not clinging to the ideas, I must change right now. I must be peaceful right now. I must move faster. Because those musts are shackles, and the path is the removal of shackles. Sometimes practitioners imagine that accomplishment means a state with no sadness, no anger, no worry. But the Buddha did not teach us to become stone. He taught us to become someone who sees, seeing sadness as sadness, seeing anger as anger, seeing worry as worry, but not identifying yourself as sadness, anger, worry, not turning them into me. With mindfulness, sadness can still come, but it no longer swallows you whole. Anger can still flash, but you know how to guard your speech, guard your hands, guard your heart. Worry can still visit, but you know how to return to the body, so worry does not become a storm. That is the quiet maturity of the unseen roots, and that is also the true, sweet fruit. Not that life becomes wave-free, but that you learn how to stand steady inside the waves. There is a story that says a young monk once asked a teacher, "Teacher, I've practiced for a long time, but my thoughts are still full. Am I doing it wrong?" The teacher smiled and handed him a clear bowl of water. Then the teacher dropped a handful of flour into it. The water turned cloudy at once. The teacher asked, "What do you see?" The young monk answered, "Cloudy." The teacher asked again, "Can you make it clear right now?" The young monk tried stirring it. The more he stirred, the cloudier it became. The teacher said, "Put it down." They sat quietly. After a while, the flour slowly settled and the water became clear again. The teacher said, "Your mind is the same. The more frantically you want it to be calm, the more you stir it up. You only need to know, then put it down." This story offers a very beautiful closing for today's theme. Sometimes the solution is not adding more movements, but making fewer. Not forcing achievement, but knowing what is enough. And so, what truly builds awakening across an entire lifetime is one sincere day at a time. Sincere with your breath, sincere with your limits, sincere with the seasons in your own heart. Some days you walk steady, some days you wobble. But if every day you return, even a little, then you are walking. The Buddha did not demand perfection. He simply showed the way and reminded us, do not abandon the path. Do not abandon yourself. If today you still do not see results, please do not rush to conclude. Remember the seed deep in the soil. It is not quiet because it is dead. It is quiet because it is preparing. Remember, fruit ripens slowly. Not ripe does not mean not sweet. Remember the steady step, not loud, but it goes far. And remember the poor man's small lamp, small yet lasting, because it was lit with a true heart. Please stay until the end of this video so you can let something settle just for you. Maybe it is very simple. Today, let today's sincerity be enough. Tomorrow, we water one more drop. And one day, naturally, your spring will come. Not as a reward for rushing, but as the result of a life that knows how to wait in wakefulness. Thank you for staying with me until the end of today's video. If even one line touched your heart gently, please let me know with a like, a small comment, or by sharing this video with someone who needs support. And if you'd like a few minutes each day to listen to the Buddha's words, please subscribe to the channel Buddha's Loving Words and turn on notifications. Take a quiet moment. Walk slowly but don't stop. I believe peace will come at the right time, like spring returning softly to the heart.
From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for supporting Buddha's Loving Words. May the teachings of the Buddha continue to touch every heart, bringing peace and happiness.